So good morning, Bangalore. Hope people at the end, people in the balcony can see me, see my slides. Okay, amazing. So how are you all doing? Okay, so can we make this a fun kind of a session rather than, I know you have been going through a lot of technical sessions, and I'll tell you a secret at the end of my presentation, but this is not going to be a technical session. I'm very sorry if someone is expecting some technical things and all those things. I'll make it a very simple one. So I want all of you to participate. Is it okay? So, because obviously the more hungry you are, the better you will eat, right? So, all ready? Okay. Any guesses what is this? Please shout out. Smartphone, iPhone. Okay. So, one question for all of you. How many features are there in the latest iPhone model or Android 13 for that matter? Doesn't matter. Just shout out the numbers, whatever you think. 100? Okay. Any other guesses? People at the top, balcony guys. I'm not able to hear. You have to shout loud so that you are hungry. 2000. Okay. What else? Any numbers from the left? My left. 1000. Okay. Anything at the back? 500. Anyone here on the right? 300. So first and foremost, this is not a betting session where everyone is bidding, right? But the answer is, honestly, I don't know. It is somewhere around 200. You can check it out. You can ask ChatGPT or Gemini. It will tell you. Okay. So next question for all of you. And this doesn't mean that it has to be always iPhone. You can even look at Android. Even Android roughly has 200 features. Agreed? Okay. How many of that features are you using? 5? Okay. How about here? 10 people at the back? 20? Wow. People at the top, balcony guys? 10? What is the maximum? 50%. Who is that genius? 50%. You are using 100 features. Roughly that is the adoption. Just imagine a company which is one of the world's best engineering company. Everyone agrees? Apple, one of the best product engineering companies, one of the best UX companies in the world. Look at the figure, it's so pathetic, right? They have 100, 200 features, only 10 to 15% are getting used. So whenever you are creating any AI product, and if people are not using, you don't get disheartened, just remember this thing, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to actually use two examples. So one, okay, before that, any non-developers here? People who have not done any coding. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So we have few non-developers, right? So that's the reason I wanted to make sure that, I know it's majority of developers here, it's a DevCon, so obviously we will have developers. But there are few non-developers, I understand that. So I'm going to take two examples and tell you the secret why people are not using all the features. And how can you, as a developer, make sure that whatever products you are shipping, especially the AI products, how you can improve the adoption of that, right? So the first example is a bit simple. So let's say you have built a RAG-based agent to help the support team, right? So all of you know that support teams will resolve tickets that come to you. Now these tickets can come through Jira, it can come through Remedy, it can come through ServiceNow, it can come through Confluence, whatever, I don't know. There are so many tools, correct? So this is an example I'm going to use throughout the entire presentation. Plus, I'll also use the iPhone example so that all of you can also relate, right? How Apple as a company is trying to improve the adoption of features. So I'll give you a scenario. Let's say you have built an amazing AI agentic tool with all RAG and everything, whatever is there. But unfortunately, the fact of the matter is, when you do a demo, you all get a standing ovation for that. After the demo is over, you send it into production. First week, very high adoption. Suddenly, after week 2 or week 3, you see that there is a dip and then there is a flat line, right? So if you all know, when someone is in the hospital and when there is a flat line, what happens? So same thing, right? So that is exactly what is happening. Now, let us try and find out why. So that is the reason I have created a simple framework which will make sure that whatever AI products or other products, even if it is not AI, because unfortunately today what happens is, anything anyone does, they will add one AI to it and then make it as an AI product. True? Like for example, Salesforce was never an AI product, but now they have agents running on Salesforce, and you have same thing for others. SAP will very soon follow, or I don't know, they would have already done it, I'm not sure. But that is what is happening. So this is applicable for both AI and non-AI products, because the principles, because these are all principles. So just to give an example, let's say someone at the top, you jump from there, what will happen? Will you come down or go up? Depends, right? If you fall from the first floor, probably you'll come down and then we may not go up. You may go to the Nimhans hospital just next door. Why it works? Now, whether let's say you are in Chennai or Bengaluru or Hyderabad, I'm talking about all the IPL teams. So doesn't matter, right? Because it's a principle, it's a law. And whether you are in your Antarctica, it will work, because these are all principles. So I'm going to talk about certain principles which you can use after today so that your product adoption will go up significantly. Okay? So this is an acronym which I have created because I as many of you, I love frameworks. Framework is something which becomes very useful for everyone, correct? So the B, I'm not going to explain this because subsequent slides I'm going to explain. So it's a bridge. Now what is a bridge? Obviously when you say a bridge, it is between, like, you have developed an amazing engineering product and there is a gap, right? So there is an adoption problem, people are not using it. So this bridge is something which will help you to make sure that more and more people are using your product. So that is what I have created. So B stands for build around real workflows. R is reduce cognitive load at entry. I is integrate into existing habit. D is demonstrate value early and visibly. G is guide progressively. And E is engineer for trust and repeatability. You can take a picture of this, because one takeaway which I want all of you to take back is, once you know or understand this framework after maybe 10 minutes, you can go it and immediately start applying from tomorrow or today. So that's the beauty of any framework, right? Once you understand it and once you follow, because these are all based on principles, and best part is the world's best product company, Apple, also uses this framework, and I'll show you through the presentation. Clear? So how many of you are ready? So only when I hear the word ready from all of you, I'll go ahead. Okay? Ready? How about balcony guys? People at the back? Not ready. I need to hear, because see, the problem is any speaker, no? They need energy, and that energy comes from the audience. So once more, last time, ready? Ready. Amazing. Okay, so let's go. So look at each of these framework one by one. So first is build around real workflows, not featureless, right? So generally, the best companies, the best product companies or best engineering companies, they always design for how the users actually use the product, not how it looks like a tool demo. So generally what happens is, you would have seen whenever you create a product, it works very well in the demo. Everyone gives you a standing ovation, your CEO is happy, your CFO is happy, your CIO is happy, everyone is happy. but after 2 weeks, there is no adoption, right? But the best companies in the world. So let's see how Apple has done it. So generally, there is something called as focus mode in Apple. Now just imagine you are driving a car or a bike or anything, and you have to activate that focus mode. Arey kahan gaya, button kahan gaya, where is the button, where is the button? What will happen? Again, Niemann's, correct? But Apple has intuitively developed a feature where it knows that you are driving. So what it will do is automatically it will go and make sure that people don't call you at that time, don't distract you, right? So that is what we call as something as designed for how the users actually use it, right? Now let's take the example of AI support agent. So generally what happens is when you are building a AI tool for support, don't build a query box where they have to find something, right? So build a draft response. As soon as a ticket is opened, suddenly there should be a draft that will come in. Now you can validate. Generally you have this principle as human in the loop, where you validate something before you send it to the users, right? So this could be an example in terms of you can actually create a draft response in the ticket. When the ticket, as soon as it's opened, you get a draft powered by AI. Okay, so that's the first B. Second is reduce cognitive load of entry. Now, if the first interaction with any product that is getting launched, if it is overwhelming, you will not get the second opportunity. So simplify the on app. So we generally have this proverb, right? First impression is the best impression. So it works even in products. Anyone here knows a tool called Calendly? Anyone heard Calendly? Okay, what is Calendly all about? It's a simple tool, right? It's a very simple app where it will help you to schedule your meetings. It has only one functionality. Any idea what is the turnover of Calendly in a year? How many dollars, US dollars? Just guess. 100 million? Any other guesses? 600 और बोलो 100, 600 ऊपर वाले कुछ और बोलो. Make it more. How much? Not able to hear. Shout out. 1. Okay. उधर लास्ट, एकदम लास्ट में आप बोलिए कितना, हाउ मच डू यू थिंक? 300 what? Rupees, dollars, million? The answer will stun you. It's $3 billion, roughly 27,500 crores. Just one app, one functionality, और कुछ नहीं करता है वो. It just helps you to. So it is the simplicity. Sometimes people feel that I have to make a product which has to be very complex, it has to solve all the problems in the world. But generally those products will never work. Best example I can give is, how many of you prefer to go to a Udupi restaurant versus a multi-cuisine restaurant where you get everything? How many of you like multi-cuisine restaurants? Anyone? No, so if I have to eat South Indian, I'll go to Udupi. If I need to eat a burger, I'll go to. If I need to eat pizza, where I'll go? Will I go to a multi-cuisine restaurant? So multi-cuisine restaurant is a misnomer because it says, koi bhi aa jao, anyone come, I'll serve all of you. But the problem is when you try to satisfy a lot of people, no one gets satisfied. Versus, if you go to Udupi, right, Adigas example, you will see that the way they will be so efficient, you don't have to do anything. Or MTR, because one of my favorites, whenever I come to Bangalore, I always go to Lalbagh MTR. And because I was also in Bangalore earlier, currently I'm in Chennai. So earlier I was a RCB fan, now I became CSK fan. So that's a different case. But MTR, if you all, I'm sure no one in the, anyone not gone to MTR here or not heard about MTR? आप बाहर से है क्या? तो आज जरूर जाइए, if possible. Because one of the best, the reason I'm telling is it's so efficient. There will be like on Saturday, Sundays, sometimes a half a kilometer line outside, but people are still willing to wait. Why? Because they are not multi-cuisine. They are very, very specific. some of their best items are like what people in Karnataka eat. That's the specialty. So that is the point I was trying to make, right? So in terms of overwhelm, now when you use an iPhone for search, right, you don't prompt it, right? You just start, like for example, if I have to tell weather, I'll just say WEA and it will automatically complete it, correct? So that is the simplicity that it has built. Now just imagine I have to write a prompt, long prompt to get it to do the search. It will not be very useful, right? So one letter typed, search bar, instant, zero friction. So this is why people love iPhone. By the way, I don't use iPhone because there is one feature which I don't like about iPhone is it doesn't have dual SIM. As so far, I don't know. Have they introduced it? Okay, eSIM. I was not aware of that. But they don't allow a physical SIM. Okay. See, we also learn from others, right? So, generally from this agent wala example, if instead of the agent asking what should I do, if you give suggested action, as soon as a ticket is raised, get a summary, you get suggested action, that will be an amazing feature because that is when the people will start using your feature. Otherwise, if they have to ask, "Arey main kya karu? What should I do?" then it becomes very difficult for them, right? Okay. So now let's move on to, so 3 suggested actions with some gold bordered action items, so they can just pick one. Like for example, how many of you have used Claude? Many, right? Now many people have started moving to Claude from OpenAI, ChatGPT. So when you work with Claude, always it will give you 2-3 options where you just have to click and then it will proceed to the next step, right? So if someone has not used Claude, start using it because another couple of years that is going to be most likely the #1 AI tool as far as the generic usage is concerned. And OpenAI is definitely going to lose out because Gemini and Claude both are catching up very fast. Though I'm not a like agent of Claude or agent of Gemini, but I'm just telling from a user perspective, okay? So this is R. Now let's move on to I. Integrate into existing habits. So don't ask users to change their workflow to use AI. Where try to embed AI into the workflow they already use. So how is Apple doing it? Apple Pay. Now just imagine if you have to make a payment and you have to go to another app and do something, it will be so difficult, people will not use it. So what Apple did is, they made Apple Pay so simple that the way you use a credit card, the same thing now they have integrated into that, so that they know that they don't have to change the behavior of people, because that is the most difficult thing to do. If someone is used to do certain things, if you try to change their behavior, it's the most difficult thing. So never try that, it will not work. So in our example, so like standard, so it's a physical, familiar physical habit, right? So in our example, what you can do is, don't make the agent, like for example, if someone is using your app, don't make them log into another tool and then from there try to find out, right? Try to integrate the whatever you want to give the insights in whatever tool they are, whether it's Jira or whichever, like Zendesk, Salesforce, Remedy, any tool, right? So if they are able to do it in their workstation or whatever tool they are using, that will be a much more, there will be a much more adaptation compared to asking them to log into another tool and then go and do something there. It doesn't work. So just remember this example of Apple Pay. So inside CRM, this is what you can do, right? Just put a AI Spark icon and just below the standard browser window, automatically the adoption will go up. Now let's look at the D, demonstrate value early and visibly. So users need to see a measurable aha moment within the first few interaction, not after first few weeks of learning. So for example, what Apple did is, when it looked at Face ID, right, face recognition, how many of you took a tutorial on face recognition before using the feature? Anyone? No one, right? Intuitive, just you see and suddenly it unlocks. Bole, arey, kya ho gaya? Khul ja sim sim. right? It's a magical moment for all of us. First time. Now it is all familiar, right? You all know fingerprint or face recognition, but just imagine when you first saw that feature. So face being scanned, instant value, no tutorial needed. Now if your users have to go through a tutorial to understand the feature what you have integrated, they are not going to use it. So in our example, first time when they open a ticket, have the AI say, I have already found the solution in the docs for you, right? Now these are not AI agents, huh? These are like real people, agents, like what we call as level 1, level 2 support guys. So it is solved in 5 seconds. And second, what happens is, you can integrate that in your dashboard itself, so that is an immediate impact. So that is demonstrate value early and visibly. Next is guide progressively. So users need to see a measurable aha moment, Yeah, so for example, if you take iPhone, you have an advanced settings, but what happens is if you start making people use the advanced settings on day one, most of the people will not use because people don't know even to use the basic features, right? So what Apple has done very clearly, I'll show you that. And for AI agents, what you can do is you can also say that as soon as the ticket is opened, you create an auto summary, right? That's a big value add. And then after that, you can talk about how they can resolve a ticket, right? So you don't show the settings until they trust the summary, because once they see, oh, this summary is quite good, automatically they will start using it. So just for an example, right? So if you take simple, intermediate and pro. So I'm giving both the examples. So in case of Apple, it is basic camera, and in case of AI agent, it could be auto summary. Intermediate could be you have a standard mode which is better than the basic mode, where you have some features for editing the image and all those things. And second thing is it could be suggested action, what they can do. And the pro version, which is the highest level. So obviously people who have been using iPhone for many years, for them you can look at pro camera settings where they can go for a very advanced settings. Similarly, in our case, that is where agentic resolution can be more useful. And last but not the least, engineer for trust and repeatability. So predictable, consistent outputs will always build confidence. Inconsistency will kill adoption faster than limitations do. So what iPhone has done, the privacy indicator, right? So all of you are aware, people who use iPhone, there is a green light and the orange light. So whenever you are recording something and the orange light is on, which means that it is getting recorded. Similarly, whenever you are taking photo and green light is on, so you know that your privacy is getting compromised or it is getting like something is getting recorded, right? Whereas if you look at the AI support, if you can add source citation, for example, if you can tell them exactly from which, because you are talking about a rack system, you have already uploaded last maybe 1 year of data and everything, right, to make the system more responsive to whatever people are using. If you can now tell that in page number 4 of this document is there where I am pulling this data out, that is where people will start believing it more and they will start using it more, right? So in this case, Gold Shield plus privacy dot, where you can see in iPhone, you can see that orange and green light. Similarly, if you can get this kind of thing, right, this is the source of the information, automatically what will happen is people will start using it better, right? So hope this was very useful. So I'll just summarize quickly so that all of you can remember this bridge framework. So if you want to improve the adoption between what you built and how people are using it, just look at this particular framework. So we went through what we call as the, so we in fact started with an example of iPhone where we have 200 plus features. Then we saw that out of that only 10 to 15% of features are used. That too by a company which is one of the best engineering company in the world, best UI company in the world. Even their adoption is low, but what Apple has done very cleverly is that the most used feature, right? All of you know the Moscow, the most used or the most important features for anyone, they have made sure that that falls into the 10 to 15%. So that you get, if you look at Pareto's law, 80% of all your usage is in this 10 to 15%. So if you can build, so it's not about adding more features, like as I give you the example of Calendly. if you can simplify things, that will make people use more of your product, right? So B stands for building around real workflows. Then R is reducing the cognitive load at entry, integrate into existing habits, and then we have demonstrate value early and visibly, guide progressively, and engineer for trust and repeatability. So hope this session was useful and you will be able to start using it right from tomorrow, because once you start thinking from the user's perspective, your adoption will go up. And just the last, before I end, the last secret, I am not a developer. I represent the users, the Vichara users who are going to use your system, because I am more of a business user rather than a techie. Though I am in IT for last 20 years, so I have not written a single line of code. So please don't ask me any technical questions. And if you have some time, can I take any questions, or don't have time? Okay, so I will be available outside. So what I'll do is, you can just connect with me on LinkedIn. You can just scan it. You can connect with me, and if you have any questions, I'll be outside. Like just before or after this particular session, you can come and talk to me. But please don't ask me any technical questions. I'm not a techie. I'll not be able to answer. I'm very open and honest. So don't ask me some very difficult questions. But anything related to usability, user perspective, I'm more than happy to answer. So thank you very much. Hope this was useful for all of you.